In the area of downtown Madison, you've got all the student housing, the apartments, and a lot of the dormitories. You find a densely populated area, lots of foot traffic in the area, so it becomes a target-rich environment for a burglar. Unfortunately, a lot of students have a false sense of security, so they may not lock their doors, or they secure their windows only with a window screen, which can easily be defeated by a dedicated burglar. A lot of people advertise their assets. If someone can walk past your residence, look through a window or look through an open door and see that you've got a laptop, electronics, cash, anything that might be desirable for a burglar, you've advertised your assets and you've made yourself a possible target. What we recommend is that people obviously lock their doors, don't trust a window screen to keep a burglar out, and inventory any items that you've got that are of value so that if you are victimized, we're able to recover those and get those items back to you. Make sure you lock your doors when you leave. That's critical. It's still about 60 to 70% of our burglaries are through unlocked doors where somebody simply just walks into the apartment, grabs the items, and walks out. By locking the doors and keeping an eye out, what you want to do is cause the burglar to make a lot of noise and take a lot of time. We do get forced entry burglaries, and that's usually in a residential area a little further from the outlying area of downtown Madison. There are a lot of things that are targeted, but burglars are looking for anything that can be fenced off easily and sold easily. So they're always looking for any electronics. Laptops, GPS units, cash, jewelry are all very common items that are targeted. Something that's very frustrating for us as officers when we respond to take a report of a burglary, and frustrating for the victims as well, is that when we ask for a description of the valuable items that have been taken, they often don't know the serial number, the model number. They can't even really estimate the value of the things that are missing. It's important that people have a personal inventory of those things that are valuable to them in their home. Something that we recommend is through a website called leadsonline.reportit.com. You can take a personal inventory of all the valuables in your home, download it to a secure website. So if you should become the victim of a fire, a burglary, tornado, any other sort of disaster, you can go to that website and download that own personal inventory for us in law enforcement or even your insurance company to let them know the things that you had, and it'll have a serial number, model number, and detailed information so that if we should recover the stolen property later on, we can get it returned to you. Really want to make sure that you've got a good heavy-duty lock, a deadbolt type lock. I've got a couple of samples set up here. A deadbolt is this type of lock that's up on top. You don't want to go with a latch key like on the bottom here. A deadbolt, which throws out into the door frame like this one does, at least an inch preferably, is far better security than a smaller latch bolt lock like this, which is just secured with a key in the knob. With the exception of some of the older properties, you're going to find that most of the addresses will have at least a deadbolt type lock on the front door. If there's not one, I would suggest that you ask your landlord if they're willing to put a better quality lock on there to secure it. The other side of this is that the strike plate that this bolt goes into needs to be secured to the frame of the building, and we suggest using a minimum of 3-inch screws to drive them into the studs of the doorway so that if somebody should try and force that door, they're going to have to get the resistance of the frame of the building on the other side. Depending on the style of the window, whether it's a double hung, a casement, what type of window you have, there are a variety of different locking mechanisms that will allow you to open the window 2 to 3 inches, get a breeze in the summertime, but that the window can't be forced further open so that somebody can reach their hand inside and grab your items. If you're going to do that, you want to make sure again that those valuables are well out of an arm's reach of the window area, so if somebody cut the screen and stuck their arm through, they couldn't get a hold of your valuables. We get a lot of burglaries, especially in the downtown area, a considerable number of them, and as I mentioned before, a large percentage of those are unfortunately just through unlocked doors, and it's because of the density of the downtown area. They recognize that the students are down. Oftentimes the students may come from a smaller community where they're not used to problems of bigger city crime, and so they come in and they have a certain amount of naivete with leaving their doors unlocked and assuming that their items are safe if left in an unsecured area. As I mentioned before, it's important that people take some measure to have an inventory of the valuable items in their household. Leadsonlinereportit.com is a fantastic website to do that. If you're not willing to do that, or you're not comfortable using the internet to download that information, recognizing that information is absolutely secure, the only person who can see it is the property owner themselves. Law enforcement and no one else can see those items. But you can go around with a digital camera and take photographs of any of your items. I recommend to people walk into your living room and take a photograph of anything that you find valuable, whether that be your television set, your computers, any other electronics, gaming consoles. Take an overall picture of it, and then zoom in with your digital camera and take a picture of the data plate. It'll have the serial number, the model number, all the identifying information, so that if we recover those items later, either through a second-hand shop or in the course of arresting somebody, we can put those stolen items in contact back with the victim that lost them and also charge the person appropriately.